So it's nice to see some new faces in the room. I hope those of you who were here last night at the Buse Center for Law and Society enjoyed that discussion about water in the West and how we're handling the challenges and opportunities before us. My name is Wellington Ryder. I'm a senior advisor to the president at Arizona State University, executive director of the University City Exchange, and the coordinator of this project, the Ten Across Project. So it's a delight to have you all here, especially those of you who have traveled from other states along the 10 and from other cities to be here with us. I expect people will be coming in and out all day from various locations because I know you all have very busy schedules. And we don't think of anybody here as just an attendee. We think of all of you as potential partners and collaborators in projects that we have in mind. Because we want to reserve as much of our time for our speakers today, I'm going to make my introductions very brief. This morning, I'm going to introduce the governor, the mayor, and the head of SRP. So, first of all, it's my sincere pleasure to introduce Governor Doug Ducey, the 23rd governor of the state of Arizona. Governor Ducey is a very good friend of Arizona State University. He is an alum. We're very proud of that. But he has positioned on a number of fronts Arizona to be a leader around innovative practices that could relate to autonomous vehicles. It could relate to things like how we're going to address our water issues. He has been a leader in the resolution of the DCP, much of which you heard about last night. And most importantly, he really does think this, the youngest of the lower 48 states, can be a testbed for new ideas. We're open to them, we're ready to execute on them, and we can't thank him enough for spending time with us today and describe his vision for the state and how this project, Ten Across, could contribute to it. So with that, Governor Ducey.
Thanks so much, Duke. Thanks for your leadership on this issue. It's really a pleasure to be here this morning, and I want to thank ASU and the Ten Across team for bringing together so many subject matter experts and leaders from across the I-10 corridor to discuss our water future. I also want to welcome our newly elected mayor of Phoenix, Kate Gallego. Say how much I'm looking forward to working with you, Kate, in the coming years. As Kate knows well, Mark Twain had a saying, whiskey's for drinking, water's for fighting. But in Arizona, our experience the last few decades and even the last few months shows that we can work together and have positive accomplishments to secure our water future. This summit is taking place at a very exciting time for the state of Arizona. Today, we're gathering in the fastest growing county in the country 2 years running. Arizona is the fourth fastest growing state, the second fastest growing economy in the nation. Our median household income is at an all-time high. Our wages are growing at one of the fastest rates of any state in the nation. We've added 300,000 jobs since 2015. Over the next 2 years, we're projected to add an additional 165,000 jobs, and we're beating 47 other states in GDP. Now, I'd be remiss in my role as governor if I didn't invite you all to also move here and bring your business. But I imagine that you will be going home to take these good ideas and apply to the benefit of your citizens. I do want to point out that in Arizona today, we use less water than we used when Dwight D. Eisenhower was president in 1957. That's despite our population growing over 6 million and our economy growing 20 times. Now, this didn't happen by accident. We do stand on the shoulders of giants, people that came before us, pragmatic and visionary leaders in the past, whose bipartisan accomplishments have enabled the high quality of life we enjoy today in this state. People like Governor Bruce Babbitt, who signed Arizona's historic Groundwater Management Act nearly 40 years ago while being flanked by members of both parties. And it was 5 years later when the Central Arizona Project system delivered its first water from the Colorado River. Carl Hayden, Mo Udall, Bruce Babbitt, John Kyle, and so many others. Our exceptional way of life in Arizona has made it possible for leaders with foresight to plan ahead and the fortitude to make the tough decisions for the benefit of future generations. Now, that is on us. This year, Arizona has faced the latest in its historic water challenge in the management for the future. And with a proud history of bold leadership, innovation, and perseverance as our guide, we've taken that challenge on. Following many years of discussion between stakeholders and all the constituencies that you must bring together to get any positive movement in water, rural, urban, agriculture, industry, tribal communities, nonprofits, cities, and more, Arizona came together just 55 days ago to pass the Drought Contingency Plan. Of the 7 basin states needing to sign on to the DCP, Arizona was the only state requiring approval from our legislature, and we achieved it with bipartisan support. Along this I-10 corridor, we all have unique challenges with water. For a state like Louisiana, the challenges center on excess and inundation. In Arizona, our challenges center on dryness and conservation. But even at a time such as this, when there is so much in the political arena that threatens to divide people, Arizona has proven that our greatest challenges, especially around water, should and can unite us. After all, it is what sustains us. Just last week, leaders in all 7 basin states met in Arizona. They signed a letter to members of Congress memorializing the DCP and urging them to move forward with the plan. Director Brenda Berman and Bureau of Reclamation has also called on Congress to do the same, signing and signaling the Bureau's support for the plan. As we speak, Tom Bushatsky, who's our director of Arizona's Department of Water Resources, is in Washington, D.C. to testify to the House and Senate on the DCP. His message: the states have done our job, and now it's time for Congress to move forward and implement this plan to secure our water future. I want to take a moment and say thank you once again to everyone in Arizona who came together to pass the DCP. And I want to emphasize that our work has only just begun regarding this very important issue. Upon signing the DCP, I also signed an executive order on water augmentation, innovation, and conservation to focus on a future and culture of conservation. This council met for the first time a few weeks ago. And earlier this month, I had the opportunity to be with Governor Lewis and the Gila River Indian community for a grand opening of a new managed aquifer recharge project. I'm very grateful to our tribal communities for the cooperation and partnership in planning for our water future and for their continued work in doing so. I'm also grateful for the work of our utilities, our rural and agricultural communities, our nonprofits, including Steve Selznow and the Arizona Community Foundation, our cities, including Catherine Sorensen at the City of Phoenix Water Department, Ted Kowalski and the Walton Family Foundation, and so many others. Thank you all assembled here today for your ongoing work and leadership towards a more secure water future. And to everyone visiting from out of town, and to everyone who's here who calls Arizona home, we're partners in this endeavor. Water, as much as it is decided at the state level, is truly a national issue. So I'm grateful for you being at the summit. Duke, I'm grateful for your leadership, seeing this across the 10 corridor. And it's such a pivotal time in the water history of the Southwest and along the I-10. There's so much we can learn and apply from each other. Just as the pioneers who came before us built our thriving communities against all odds, I'm confident that if we continue to work together, there's no challenge that we can't overcome. Thank you so much, and enjoy the remainder of the summer.
Thank you, Governor. By the way, as the governor's leaving, it's not that it's disinterest. The Cronkite School students in the School of Journalism are about to interview him, as they will with the mayor. You'll see them throughout the day asking questions. We have an interview room for some of you and for our panelists, so I hope you take advantage of that. It's now my pleasure to welcome Mayor Kate Gallego on her first Wednesday in office. Yeah. So you can imagine what her schedule looks like. Everybody wants a piece of her time right now, but I can tell you she ran one of the most inclusive and generous campaigns that one would like to see from public officials, and she is deeply interested in the issues we're talking about here, about inclusivity, about water, about the environment, and it's really great to have a mayor now taking the helm who's going to be interested in what you all are interested in and help us advance some great projects. She was on the council from 2013 to 18, so she knows the city, comes with a lot of experience, and we're just delighted to have her here today. Mayor Gallego.
Thank you. It is wonderful to be with you all here today. It's an exciting time for me in my career in public life. I haven't voted on anything yet, so everyone is still happy, and it's an honor to be Phoenix's. It's an honor to be with you here today, and thank you for coming to Phoenix and talking with us about our water future. He introduced himself as Wellington, but I know him as Duke. And we just really appreciate his leadership in putting us on the map in terms of thinking about the future and big issues and bringing together so many leaders in the community who can help us come up with solutions to difficult challenges and collaborate across the I-10 corridor. So thank you to Duke and our one of our great assets, Arizona State University. We often talk about it as the most innovative university, and this is just one of the great examples of bringing people together across untraditional boundaries. We hope to get 10x in benefits in looking at these difficult issues. As Duke mentioned, these are issues that are very important to me. I have an undergrad environmental studies degree and first got involved with the city of Phoenix as a member of the city's Environmental Quality Commission. And that's something you're seeing increasingly with mayors, although I seem to be doing it at a lower level than some of the others. So for example, the mayor of Mexico City also has an environmental degree, but she already won a Nobel Prize. So the pressure is on, but it is wonderful to see how many mayors are interested in these issues, which are increasingly important. Certainly in Phoenix, we would not exist without long-term planning, as the governor said, about our water supply. And if we are to secure our future, we really have to think about these difficult issues. I am the mother of a 2-year-old, and so I often think about what type of city he will inherit. And the work you do here today will hopefully help us give him a better future with increasing challenges from climate and summer heat in Phoenix. We must plan ahead if we are going to succeed in these issues, but we have voters who very much support us doing more in these areas. The city of Phoenix passed a citywide 10-year planning document that said they want us to be the most sustainable desert city on the planet. So I have ambitious marching orders, but if we are competing on those issues, I think it's good for all of our cities and saying we all want to lead in these areas. We will look forward to learning what other cities have done, and if you're willing to share your best ideas, we'll need them. I'm glad that you've chosen Phoenix, and this portion of Phoenix in particular. You are in our historic warehouse district. So when Phoenix was an agricultural city, this was the area where all of the produce was gathered to be put on trains. So all of the buildings in this area are oriented towards the railroad tracks. It is no longer a hub of agricultural produce, but is being reborn as a center for innovation, and many of our most innovative startups and creative companies are in this area. They say that great buildings are helpful to great companies. It is the only area of the city, though, where when I've been given a tour by the building owners, sometimes someone will point somewhere and say, that's where the ghost lives. And you never know as an elected official, what is the appropriate reaction when someone points out the ghost? But they are neat buildings, and by Phoenix standards, historic buildings, although for some of you in other portions of the country, you may laugh to know that a 100-year-old building in Phoenix is seen as historic. But we love our route, our warehouse district, and if you have a chance to look around, I hope that you'll enjoy it in our downtown. Like the state of Arizona, Phoenix is trying to plan ahead as much as possible for our drought under the capable leadership of our Water Services Director, Catherine Sorensen, who you'll hear from. We made a major investment in the last year to be planning ahead and thinking about how we can prepare around drought, and I appreciate her leadership in that area. We'll continue to address those challenges and think about the future. We often hear people say that water is a wicked challenge in the Southwest due to the prolonged drought, climate change, and potential for shortage, and then additional challenges that we have here with lack of shade and heat islands. And we know that all of you throughout the community have different challenges with water, but from the Gulf to California and Florida, also equally wicked challenges. But I think we are up for them. Continued discussion and collaboration on new ideas will help us address those challenges, whether it be looking at conservation, better infrastructure, or how we grow our economies. I think that you will have a great conference here, and look forward to hearing about the creativity, collaboration, and solutions that I know you will experience at the 10 Across Conference. Have a great event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Gallego. Okay, she let the cat out of the bag on one thing, so now I have to explain my name problem. So my father was in the military. He was a big fan of the Duke of Wellington, Battle of Waterloo, names me Wellington, but said, but that's not what we're really going to call you. So that's how I got to be where I am today. So that's for real, too. I'm not kidding on that one. So anyway, obviously you can see why we're so heartened to have Mayor Gallego at the helm here. It's just going to be a fantastic partnership between herself, her people around her, and the university. Next, and lastly of our introductions, I want to introduce Mike Hummel, the CEO of the Salt River Project, SRP. For those of you who were here last night, you heard from Dave Roberts, who explained in considerable detail the situation that the governor referenced with the drought contingency plan and SRP's role in it. Obviously, SRP is a very well thought of company with a big project ahead. We're delighted to have Mike here tell you a little bit about it and their role in the DCP, but also in the general wherewithal of this area. They not only address water issues, but they also do power issues. So they are a great sponsor of this summit. It was great to have Dave here last night. But with this, I would like to introduce Mike Hummel.
Well, good morning, and thank you and welcome for attending the second 10 Across Summit. We're excited as SRP to be a sponsor of this. This is a great opportunity for us. We think the opportunity to collaborate across the entire I-10 corridor and share ideas is a unique idea, and it's fantastic. So we couldn't be happier than to be a part of this. Let me make a couple of quick comments. When you go third is the introductions. A lot of the best lines are taken, but I do want to talk a little bit about SRP and a couple of issues. Let me start by thanking Duke and ASU for bringing this together. As Kate mentioned, ASU is one of the most innovative universities in the country. As an Arizona Wildcat, that's hard to say, but I will. So thank you very much for all the leadership and effort that you put into not only this space, but the rest of the space in helping grow Phoenix and Arizona in a very good way. Appreciate that. With respect to the new mayor, SRP and the mayor have a long history together. It's a great history. We've been pleased to be a partner with her in a number of areas for years, so Phoenix is very lucky to have Mayor Gallego. We look forward to working with her on not only water, but every other issue within the city of Phoenix. For those that aren't familiar with SRP, or Salt River Project, we are a water and power utility that for over 100 years has been bringing water from the Arizona highlands to the Phoenix area. You're going to hear about a number of challenges in the state and across the I-10 corridor today. They're real challenges, they're difficult challenges, So let me give you just a little bit of history of SRP and some of the things we've done. You're going to hear discussions about challenges like the load centers and the population centers not being co-located with the natural resources that we depend on for our success. In contrast, we sit here in the valley today at the confluence of 4 major rivers, the Salt, the Verde, the Gila, and the Agua Fria. That geographical good fortune has allowed SRP to be able to provide water and water leadership to the state since our beginning, and we're glad to be able to do that. We serve residential, commercial, industrial throughout the Salt River Valley. There's also going to be important sessions that you're going to hear about today and throughout this session covering preparedness. I couldn't think of a more important issue to be dealing with than resilience and preparedness at this time. You don't have to look far to find examples in a culture of preparedness than a few miles down the street at SRP, where we have dealt for over 100 years with the issue of how do you deal with fluctuating rainfall, fluctuating moisture in this state, and bring it to a load center where we have customers who demand water on a steady basis. We have done that through developing a series of water storage properties from above ground to underground water storage. We manage both groundwater and surface water to provide those communities, and we've been doing that for a number of years. As the governor and the mayor mentioned, we have seen at SRP a declining demand for water over a number of years. That's due to a number of things. It's due to the conversion in this state from an agricultural basis to residential and commercial, so there's natural lower water usage. But there has been conservation efforts. I will be the first to say we're nowhere near where we need to be as a state on conservation efforts, and we need to step that up, and we need to provide greater reasons and emphasis and leadership in the community for that to happen. You're going to hear about innovations and partnerships. There's no better example than what we're trying to do here today with the 10 Across, is look for partnerships with others who have experienced similar challenges to what we have experienced. It might not be drought, but it might be a surplus of water. So how are we preparing for that, and how are we dealing with that in different parts of the country? SRP has, for over 100 years, very proud of the innovations that we have been responsible for and the partnerships that we've developed throughout that time period. So you've seen innovations in water measurement and water forecasting, both of which have helped us provide a critical role of bringing water to the valley. You see it in SRP providing a lead role in being a driver behind the first biomass plant built in the state of Arizona to improve forest health. There is a critical link between forest health and the quality and quantity of water in this state. We're proud to be a leader in that. And you'll see that innovation in a culture of sustainability that is growing within SRP, and in fact growing in this whole community on both the energy and the water segments, and we're very proud to be a part of that. I don't talk about those to say that we have the answers for the future or just to be an SRP commercial, although that's part of it. But I say that because we have faced considerable challenges before. We have faced challenges of floods, we have faced challenges of droughts, we have faced challenges of excessive growth, and we have found ways to make that work and ways to deal with that. I don't know how we're going to do that in the future, but I do know getting groups like this together to talk about that is the way to make that happen. So thank you all for being there. We look forward to continue to provide leadership in this valley from a water perspective. I think you heard that from Dave Roberts yesterday. Perspectives on DCP, which is critically important to the Western water supply. So thank you again for taking the time to be here. Thank you for coming to Phoenix. If you had a chance to walk around last night or this morning, you'll find why in the month of March, most of us find reasons not to leave this state. It's a great place to be. So thank you very much and enjoy the conference.